Hello and welcome to Selah Time to Pause, So What, where we run down what's been going on this month in Selah Time to Pause podcast from Plexus Salvation Army. As usual, I'm joined again by Gracie. Hello, Gracie.
Hello, Sam. Now, can I pause you? Can I time to pause even?
It is time to pause.
Yeah, because I've got something important to show you. Because I didn't want to be outdone by you and Charlie Green. Right, so I've got this, but I couldn't work out. I couldn't put it on the wall because I'm moving out soon, and if I attached it to the wall, it would create a cavity.
Right.
Well, look, I've got my own.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Just a neck.
Hold it that way. Give me a note.
Oh.
There you go.
And on that note,
So yes, this is my contribution to the musical world.
it's time for Pick Up the Pops, cue theme tune. I don't know if I've got one yet, but there it is. Woo! This month, we are going to do Pick Up the Pops slightly different in honour of our new playlists on Spotify, which you can find in the links in the description. We are going to choose the best of songs of Selah, all the songs that have been used in the Selah Time to Pause podcast this month, and put it against the best of the songs in Abide Worship, also linked in the description below, and put that against the best songs of Authentic Christianity, which, if you want to know what it is, you can go to Plexus Salvation Army Instagram page and it will be there. So, without further ado, the best song from Selah Time to Pause, as voted for by me, is Clear the Stage by Jimmy Needham. That's your first choice. Or would you prefer So Will I 100 Billion Times by Hillsong, which was on Abide Worship when Phoebe did a set on Abide Worship? I'm going to put that against Not Today by Hillsong, which we'll play. So out of those three songs, Gracie, what are you going to go for the best song of So What?
Well, in true judge style, like they'd say on Strictly, it's very hard to pick from those three because you've shared three crackers, but I've got to go with the one that has kind of stuck in my head since I heard it, and I'm going to go with Clear the Stage.
That is a great choice. Like I said in the episode with Charlie, that song has been in my head since I heard him play it. So,
and it was nice to revisit it because a bit like Charlie, heard it a long, long time ago. And it was one of those ones that, would be played and used and stuff for a while. And then, I'd forgotten it, really. So it was nice to hear it again. But it still sounds really fresh as well because it's such a relatable song and still challenging.
Yeah, definitely. So that song will be added to the Pick of the Pops playlist on our Spotify channel. Check it out. Another link in the description. Sorry, there's a lot of links in there. If anything floats your boat, it's down there. Have you got a joke for us this week, Gracie?
I have, and funnily enough, I've got one that links directly to what you've just said. I told my friend I like Beyonce. He said, whatever floats your boat. I said, no, that's buoyancy.
Very good. Yeah. I'm glad I said that now.
Amazing.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But before I crack on, right, I need the listeners to know this next bit, right? Because I asked you, Sam, didn't I, to sing about my iPhone and Samsung.
I was like, what?
Right, I told a joke on a Zoom meeting the other day. Nobody laughed. Turns out I'm not remotely funny.
I can vouch for that.
Rude. Oh dear. I've been very busy this month, Sam. I've been telling people about the benefits of eating dried grapes. Raising awareness.
What was that last bit? Raising and...
raising awareness. I can't say it now. Raising awareness. Right. Oh, stop interrupting. Try again. Right, Sam, I've been busy this month sharing the benefits of eating dried grapes.
Oh yeah, raising awareness.
I will stop and breathe.
So Sam, as you know, I've got to pack up my belongings because I've got to move house. I was doing it the other day and I started to get like a bit nostalgic. And I started to think about a hen I used to have. And this hen, right, would count this hen would count her own eggs. She was a Mathema chicken.
I didn't know you had a hen. Those are some cracking jokes. Bible verse of the month. What's the Bible verse this month, Gracie?
So actually, I've chosen a Bible reading that I think was mentioned in the musical musings episode. And probably sounds a bit selfish, this, but it's definitely a verse that has kept me going through quite a very difficult month. And it's Deuteronomy 31, verse 8. So this is the Message version, and it says this: God is striding ahead of you. He's right there with you. He won't let you down. He won't leave you. Don't be intimidated. Don't worry. I like that version. I like that image of God striding ahead of you, but he's also right there with you, and he won't leave you. So he's got all those things in control, beside you, ahead of you, behind you, around you.
Yeah.
And that striding thing is just a confident, bold image to me, and quite clear instructions. Don't be intimidated. Don't worry. And I've had to really draw on that, particularly in recent weeks, where I have worried, I have felt intimidated, and I have at times felt like I've been completely on my own. But then that just reminder of, God ain't gone anywhere, and to have that confidence, keep going. God's ahead of you. So yeah, that's my verse of the month.
100%. It's reminded me a bit of, in the Immersed episode, the Joshua Bible reading, because I recorded that, and the amount of times I had to say be bold and be strong and courageous in that Bible reading, it kind of repeats it over and over again. It's clearly a message that was in this month. And like you mentioned before, this month you have had an answer to prayer that we've prayed for on this podcast.
Absolutely. Yes, a very specific answer to prayer. So I now not only know where I'm going to live, all the complicated processes seem to have come together and are working out. And so, I've got a new place to live. I'll be moving in a couple of weeks. And it's not just a case of trying to find a new building to live in. It's been about being in the right geographical area for me to continue to get the medical help that I need, and a place where I feel safe and part of community. And it's been a bit of a slog getting there, but thankfully some answers to prayer. So I'm very grateful for anybody who did utter or mutter a prayer on my behalf, because at times I found it really difficult to kind of speak out and ask God for help. Yeah. And we thank God for that as well, that it's come through and looks really nice as well. Thank you, Sam.
Monthly reports. I guess that's part of your monthly report this month, Gracie. Did you have anything else for your monthly report? That's
kind of consumed everything, really. I've gone back to running. I had my rest time for the marathon, and I've gone back to running, and haven't fallen out of love with it, which is always a bonus if you do a big challenge like that. So yeah, that's been good. What about you?
This month, my monthly report it's not quite happened yet, but my little daughter is just about to start crawling, I do feel. We're getting to the stage where we can't put her down anywhere because she'll be somewhere else if you turn away. So
that's it now, isn't it? That's your life. You'll never have any control over her ever again now.
She's got to the stage of complaining that she's still. So I'm assuming she'll not be still much longer.
She might miss out crawling and go straight for walking.
She might. She has been standing up a bit, like holding onto something and pulling herself up. And remember, if you, the listener, has a monthly report you want to share, or you want sharing on the podcast, do email us, plexus@salvationarmy.org.uk, and put "so what" in the subject for the email, and we'll look forward to reading those there. So this month, we started out with Faith and Headlines with Ian on the solar eclipse. We witnessed Ian in an observatory, which if you haven't checked the video out, make sure you go check it out. He looks like he's having a good time. Let me say that again. He looks great in his observatory, which it reminded me of, I think it was after this episode, it was the Northern Lights were on view in the UK. Did you see them?
I didn't, but I needn't have worried because people on Facebook shared a few photos. So it's fine. Did you see them?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't see them either. I looked, because it was the same night as Eurovision, wasn't it?
Yes, another phenomenon. Another
phenomenon.
Yes, for different reasons.
Yeah. No, I didn't see the Northern Lights, sadly. I think where I was, there was too much light pollution.
Can I ask you a question? Were you bothered that you didn't see it?
A little bit. I would have liked to have seen them, but like you said, everybody that did see them put it on Facebook. So.
I think that's this is where the problem lies for me. Is I'm sure if I'd seen it, I would have been like, oh yeah, it looks nice. But I think because I'm not bothered in the first place, is a bit of a problem. I think that's a bit of a barrier for me in terms of being in awe of those experiences. Okay. And like space does not interest me at all because it's too big for me to try and comprehend. I just can't.
Well, I think that's the same reason why it interests me.
Right. Yeah.
And I really like pictures of it, like the purpley solar system-y pictures. I'm a big fan.
So, yeah.
And I really like Star Wars as well. So I guess that kind of adds to the...
Yeah. I like Star Wars, but I don't know, maybe I should be more open to it, I think. But I think because it's just too massive for my small brain to even understand. But that's not to say I shouldn't learn more about it. I should be more open, I think.
Yeah.
I also think if I was going to learn anything about how amazing our planet is or universe is, we should go deep under the ocean because there's bits under there that we don't know about.
Yeah.
And that's right here.
Yeah. And we need to look after it as well, I guess.
Yeah, we do.
Because one thing that Ian said in that episode was, right at the end, that really stuck with me was, continue to journey in faith and wonder. And I guess you can journey in faith and wonder without looking at the stars if you don't want to, like you, or continue to look at the stars. I've got something to add for my monthly reports.
Oh, go on then.
I went to see The Phantom Menace, Star Wars Episode 1 in the cinema.
Oh, wow.
And it was very nostalgic because that was the first Star Wars, the first cinema trip that I remember going with my dad to see The Phantom Menace.
So young.
It was great. I really enjoyed seeing it again. Yeah.
So young.
I would have been, 25 years anniversary. I would have been 6.
Let's move on from that fact, shall we?
Okay.
But the awe and the wonder can be discovered even in the finest details in life. Like I'm studying at the moment. I'm doing dementia and Alzheimer's awareness course. So in this course, it talks about the different processes that take place in the brain. And I learned this, right? So it talks about how the various regions in the brain are highly specialized. They have a specific job. Yeah. So it says here, each of our various body parts has a unique portion of the area of the brain called the primary cortex devoted to it, right? So each individual finger has about as much dedicated brain space as your entire leg. You get your head around that?
All right. Yeah.
And then your lips, in turn, require about as much dedicated brain processing as all of your fingers and your hand combined.
Right. Okay.
Do you see how that's nuts?
Because of the amount of muscles. Yeah.
And that whole thing of how we're created to, our brain sends signals and it all works to do something very specific. That's the kind of thing that I'm in awe of, and
yeah.
And then I want to learn more about. I'm not saying, that I wouldn't see that if I looked up in the sky and saw the Northern Lights, but
rather than the massive, it's the minute. Yeah.
And so if you transfer that, you transfer that then into every day lives and our situation, I wonder then if we saw everything even through that kind of perspective of awe and wonder, whether even the mundane things in life we'd be a bit more grateful for them, or we'd be a bit more aware of them, that we could, try and make the right choices, or
yeah.
I don't know the answer, but
definitely. Yeah. No, I think that in itself is an answer, and maybe a form of worship, I guess, in being in awe of the things that have been created, and like the every little detail that goes into it.
Do you ever watch QI?
Sometimes, yeah.
I quite like the biblical version. So I find that idea that you can find out things that amaze you. But again, what QI does, it takes things that we assume and takes things that we believe to be fact, and actually pulls it apart a little bit, doesn't it? And
points out how sometimes how silly it is, or how wrong that we have made it.
But I quite like a version of that to look at faith or the Bible. So again, break it down into actually this is actually what it is like.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that.
We'll put in a request. A person who I know would love to do that and run it. We'll put in a request with Major Ian.
There you go.
See what he says. He'd love that. Yeah. You never know. In a few months, there'll be a dedicated episode on Selah QI. Yeah, definitely.
There's another. There's a woman. She's a woman I follow on Instagram. She's a scientist, but she's quite normal, down to earth.
Okay.
I phrased that wrong because that makes it sound like most scientists aren't. But science at GCSE level for me, I didn't learn a thing. All I did in my science lessons was hand my little scissors to my friend Beth, who used to sit next to me, and she used to cut off her split ends. That was my science lesson. Didn't learn a thing. That's all I did, is hand over the scissors. You don't just sit there. So I haven't got that scientific brain. I may have done, they may have not tapped into it. I just haven't got the knowledge. But I follow this woman she's been on telly a bit, and what I like about the way she does it is she makes what would probably feel like it's too big for your brain to compute. She brings it down to a normal, everyday level where I can understand it, and then it makes me want to learn more.
As all great teachers do. Yeah.
And that's what we did when we were talking about. We still got that wonder, but not to the point where it's out of reach.
Wonder that makes us want to learn more.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Clear the stage?
Clear the stage.
Now, Gracie, you had a lovely neck of a guitar before.
I did. Shall I show it again? Still here.
Yeah, because I witnessed the making, I witnessed that guitar with the rest of the body, and I also witnessed it leaving the body.
And I remember it being quite distressing for you.
Yeah.
It took you a while, didn't it, to come around?
Yeah.
Shall I explain what happened?
Explain what happened, yeah.
We were in summer school, and it was only two of us in the room that knew this was going to happen. One was me, and one was the person leading worship, which I think, Sam, you were part of the band at this point. Were you on?
I was part of the band, yeah.
You were on the stage, weren't you? The message we were trying to get across was about getting back to the real heart of God's mission, and to kind of break the idea of hiding behind songs and it being about meetings and gatherings, even though, those things are important, but to the point where we wanted to challenge that idea that perhaps that had become a distraction, and a bit like they were talking about in Clear Stage, almost becoming an idol in itself. So we wanted to just challenge that thought, and we thought we'd do it in quite a physical and visual way. So what happened was, you were up singing a song, leading worship, a bunch of teenagers, young adults in the room, and I just suddenly came out of the congregation, let's call them, and there on the stage, like the whole thing, was this guitar, but it was in full. It had its whole working body attached, but it was just sat amongst the band, wasn't it, on a stand. So in the middle of this song, I stand up, I started shouting and telling everyone to shut up, shut up, shut up. I grabbed the guitar and proceeded to smash it on the ground on the stage, and that is what was left. And then it kind of linked into the Bible verse from Amos about, God hating your songs and your false worship and stuff like that. And yeah, that's kind of how we used it. And it must be a few years ago. It's a long time ago now.
It was a long time
It's
ago.
over 10 years ago. And I've moved a few times since then, and I've kept it with me. It stayed with me.
There it is. Strong as another chord.
It's still, ready? Do you like that? Is that?
Beautiful.
Yeah. So that's where that is. That's what that's from. But that whole thing with what you were talking with Charlie about, it's not just about song worship, obviously, but what are the things we put in place that distract us and become our idols?
Yeah.
You did talk about this verse in it about take a break from all the plans that you have made and sit at home alone and wait for God to whisper. And that really hit home with me, that verse of just sitting and waiting. It's not an easy thing to do, is it?
And being open to listen as well.
Yeah. Because you've got everything else around you. And I think we've talked about it before, about in relation to be still and know, or he leads me beside still waters, and it being the fact that it's just not easy to reach that point. It's not as simple because we're so human and get distracted by everything. To get to that point, it takes work.
Yeah.
And to be still and wait is not a passive thing, is it? It's a choice.
No, definitely not. No. Yeah.
So even though you're being still, it's still an action.
Yeah. And I guess you can be still and appear to be listening, but without taking anything in. But if we do that with God, then if we go through the motions but don't actively listen and just hear, it doesn't really work, does it?
No.
I know that's just words put together, but I like to think I know what it means.
But that thing about the whisper, it's again, if I think of a whisper, I think of something quite gentle and quiet. But there's so much power in a whisper. If the conditions and the environment is quiet, a whisper can be heard like a bell, can't it?
Yeah.
Like my background is in acting and stuff. You talk about a stage whisper, being a bit of a louder whisper. I remember we used to do these productions at school, so you have 250 kids waiting in the wings to go on and do their bit. And we used to just have to, and they were all excited and stuff, but we had to try and keep them quiet. And I remember one time when we were in a rehearsal, I said, if you're going to be backstage and just talk in a whisper. And we decided that they couldn't even do that, because even their whisper, when everything was quiet on stage, would travel to the back of the hall. So we had to just say, you have to be silent.
Yeah.
But a whisper it's not gentle and quaint. It's a strong voice in the quiet.
Yeah, and it's almost, if you're listening to a whisper, does it make you work harder to hear it, which makes you work harder to concentrate on it, which makes it more powerful in your head, or makes you understand it more because you're working harder?
And I think it's about what you said about, deliberately taking the effort to listen, but also more than that is hearing what's said. And I think that's what happens when you engage with a whisper.
Yeah, definitely. I think going back to that summer school where you smashed that guitar up, part of Ian's episode was talking about remembering the Immersed episode, remembering like how Joshua was on the back of Moses, or leading off the back of Moses, and like everything Moses worked towards, Joshua was building on. Remembering people who have impacted your life or our lives, and kind of being on the shoulders of giants. That's what he said. And I guess like from the you smashing the guitar up, the impact that you've had on my faith journey, standing on the shoulders of small people as well. So, yeah.
Yes, that's a very generous thing to say. I don't know what to say to that.
Yeah. I just like the impact of that episode, of the kind of the gratefulness that he had for people and the gratefulness that we can have pondering on that episode. So just wanted to share that. Yeah.
I used to do you were my sound guy, weren't you? My roadie when I did an Act of Faith. And so Act of Faith was a one-woman show and just talked about life. But there was a section in it where I got the opportunity to to recognise but also say thank you to the people that had influenced me in various parts of my life. And I mean, in that particular situation, they're sadly not here anymore. But whenever I got to that point, it would always have quite a deep impact on me. And it's quite I think if you get the opportunity to either thank people that have had an influence or be thankful, it might not be possible for you to do it. It's quite a powerful moment, and I would encourage anyone to do it. Just take some time to think about, that person said that to me. I mean, it could be something like years ago, but just that attitude of being thankful and recognising is quite powerful.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think on that air of thankfulness, I was really grateful for Regina's honesty in her live soundtrack episodes. I sat whilst they recorded, part listening and partly listening to just the sound quality of the microphones and trying to concentrate on that rather than what she was saying. But I was just captivated by the stories that she was telling of her life and where she's come from and where she wants to go, and inspired in a sense. But it was a great life story from Regina. I really appreciate it.
She seems to have a very steady belief that everything happens for a reason and is all part of God's plan. And there must have been times where she had to choose to move places or go places where she must have felt apprehension or fear, but she did it anyway because she has this strength and this belief that God's in
trust.
Yeah. It's like it's like clearly we only kind of heard a few minutes from her, but I got to know her a little bit, but also just she just had quite an inspiring strength, I think, that came across.
Yeah, and I've known Regina for a little bit. We've worked in the same building every now and then, but never heard some of those stories that she was telling in it, and I just really appreciated the opportunity to hear those stories and that for her to share those. So it was inspiring. And we'll take this part of the episode to say if anybody has any prayer requests that they would like me and Gracie and the team to pray for, then do email us at plexus@salvationarmy.org.uk with the title prayer requests, and we'll add those to our list of prayer requests. Do you have a prayer request, Gracie?
I just wonder whether, not to get political, but I wonder if we should be praying for nation as we go into election. I was watching something yesterday which, I don't know, it just looked like it could get nasty quite quickly, quite personal.
Yeah.
And I think it's got to be about more than that, and we need some wisdom and discernment over our leadership. And we live in quite a dangerous world at the moment. Well, it's always been dangerous, but particularly at the moment, I think maybe we should pray for the next few weeks that we are kind to each other and also discerning and wise. That would be my prayer request.
Yeah, definitely. And for the final song, you sent me a song kind of with that prayer in mind. Be brave, be strong, be kind by Josh Wilson kind of echoes that prayer and that encouragement to do the same. Sadly, we were going to play it on the podcast, but we can't. So what is the song that we're going to play this month, Gracie?
It's called What a Friend by Benjamin Hastings, and it draws together a lot of the things that we've been talking about on this episode, and in particular there's a bit that's based on that old song It Is Well, which it says, every high, every low, should waves arise where the sea billows roll, I have a friend, so no matter what life throws, it is well, it is well, it is well with my soul. And having that just assurance really that God is massive, he is mighty, he is awesome, but he's also our friend, and even in the awesome, he's also very personable, and our lives matter to him. Every detail of our lives matter to him. And when we know that we have a massive God that loves us in such a personal way, it can have that impact where life can be really, really tough. But it is well with my soul when I've got him as my friend.
When I look back on my life, it isn't hard to see the hand of the divine ever guiding me. The brightest days, the darkest nights, and everything between. Lord, how good you've been. Oh, what a friend I found in Jesus. Oh, what a hope I have in my Savior's love, my first and last defense, my help, my righteousness. What a friend I've found. When I think of all the times you've been there for me, your word has been the light. Tell me, find my feet, your steady hand, your faithfulness, how constant you have been. It's not hard to see. Oh, what a friend I found in Jesus. Oh, what a hope I have in my Savior's love, my first and last defense, my help, my righteousness. What a friend I found. Every high, every low, should waves arise when the sea billows roll. I have a friend, so no matter what life throws, it is well, it is well, it is well with my soul. Every high, every low, should waves arise, oh, when the sea billows roll. I'm a friend, so no matter what life throws, it is well, it is well, it is well with my soul. It is well, it is well, it is well with my soul. Singing, oh, what a friend I found in Jesus. Oh, what a hope I have in my Savior's love, my first and last defense, my help, my righteousness. What a friend I found.
Hello, this has been Selah Time to Pause, a podcast from Plexus Salvation Army, an online church in the UK.
I'm Ian.
I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Sam.
If you've enjoyed journeying with us over these last few weeks, join us every Monday.
Or any day that works for you.
To spend time together, taking time out to pause, catch our breath, draw near to God and refresh our spirits.
We share Bible teachings,
reflections on songs we're listening to,
and on what's going on in the world around us.
As well as this, on the last day of the month, we look back and reflect, share any thoughts from our listener community, and ask what we can take from it into our daily living.
What we call our personal So What's for the month.
Join us, making us part of your regular routine, spending a few minutes to listen to what God might be saying to you.
Find us on your favourite podcast streaming service,
on Facebook
or YouTube
by searching for Selah.
That's SELAH.
Time to Pause.